Welcome everyone to February 9th, Diversity, Racial Equity and Inclusion Committee meeting. We are being recorded. Please be mindful of this, and we will go ahead and proceed. May I have let's see, what are we supposed to do first? Call to order, I did that part.
Yep.
What's next on the agenda?
Is the approval of the minutes of February 2nd.
Yes.
And has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes of February 2nd?
Yes.
Any proposed edits?
None?
No. Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of February 2nd.
May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
The minutes of February 2nd are approved.
Very good. Thank you, Latasha. If you don't mind, I'd like to introduce everybody to our guest tonight. Lisa Maroney is our Director of Business Development here in Chelmsford. And Lisa, welcome. Thank you so much for agreeing to meet with the Diversity, Racial Equity and Inclusion Committee tonight.
Happy to do it.
A terrific person and a great addition to the town, and I'll let you take it from there.
Thank you, Tricia. It's great to be here, and thank you so much for sharing some time in your meeting with me. As Tricia said, I am the Director of Business Development for the town, and I just turned on year 3 in my hire. I am a newly created position with the initial focus on Route 129 once Kronos left and some other large employers left. We had some unhealthy amounts of existing empty square footage, and our empty space is becoming a little bit dated and tough to market. So I've been spending some initial time in working on the Route 129, which is Billerica Road. And I'm going to try to condense my summary a little bit, but we've created a website, we have a branding, a logo, drone video. We're working towards re-imaging that area to be the Chelmsford Crossroads at Route 129. And we have cut our empty square footage in half in the first 3 years. So we're getting there, and you may have seen some of the larger employers come in. Right now we're bringing online 2 life science companies. Thermo Fisher purchased a building, which is kind of unique, 110,000 square foot building at 220 Mill Road, and they are spending 50 million plus into that one location to fit out. And we also have Triton Systems. They're expanding. They took 330 Billerica Road. And with that project, myself and the team was able to secure a long-term lease with Pressed Cafe to include a drive-through up to an office building, which is really cool and unique. So we're getting that going, and tentative opening for Pressed Cafe is December of this year. So meanwhile, what brought us to this point was we had a study of the area. We've had some recommendations. I was very fortunate to land some grant funding, which part of it attracted a cash incentive for Press Cafe. And the other portion was used to bring on an economic development specialist that I've been working with to create a business attraction package, because we still have 850,000 square feet of empty space, and our buildings and all of that space is in about 5 large buildings. So we continue to get a lot of interest, more now than ever, with businesses looking to move out of the Boston area, come to a technology area that's less than half the cost. We're very accessible, as you can see. We have direct access off the highway. We've been bringing on market rate housing, and part of the challenge is that all the empty spaces up front. Meanwhile, there's 600 acres of 152 very vibrant, successful businesses working over there with several thousands of jobs. So that's one aspect of what I've been doing for the town, but more so in the last 12 months, really doing a lot of outreach and a lot of case management for our small businesses. They need more help. They need additional time and interest on individual cases for their situation. It's very unique. You can't say that all pizza shops are the same. So I'm really spending a lot of time in the last few months in trying to stabilize and retain as many as possible for our small businesses. And it's, you know, it gets real personal at times. I won't say that I haven't shed a few tears over it. Some of it's a little bit heartbreaking, and we can see some of this is out of our control, but the town has done an extraordinary job in offering 2 local grants that came out of Chelmsford. We offered a reopening grant for small businesses, and we offered a reactivation grant. So we were able to help almost 40 small businesses ourselves. In addition to the information I've been pushing out for state level programs, the economic injury loans, and the grants that continue to come out. I've been pushing info even out today. Verizon announced a grant for small businesses, and we've had some a good many of them apply from our community today. So it's really a lot of outreach and a lot of communication, making myself readily available to everyone and anyone. That's my job. More recently, I've been trying to do back to business visits and site visits to be in with these companies and find what they need. We've started workforce development. I'll call it a forum. There's a meeting coming up that I've arranged with the help of the economic development consultant. We're meeting with UMass Lowell, Middlesex Community College, the Middlesex 3 Coalition, the Workforce Development Board, and it's my understanding that we'll be inviting the Chelmsford Public School and Neshoba Technical School, I believe, is also going to be involved. And the goal is to start cross-connecting on what the future needs are for workforce development in the upcoming generations, and how we can start, you know, forming that educational track and those goals of what's needed in the next 3 to 5 years. So that's kind of moving along a little bit. That's somewhat in tandem with the Route 129 and business attraction. Last week, I was able to elevate the town's biotech rating through the Board of Health. So that's another layer of added attraction for businesses to choose Chelmsford. We're trying to pursue good paying jobs and livelihoods versus warehousing and things that would just be like cold storage, not necessarily, you know, we're looking for something that really adds value in the economic cycle of live, work, play, things like that. I did jot down a few notes of more immediate things I've been doing towards small businesses. We have actually had a handful of new businesses opening. Not sure if you've seen them around town. Chelmsford Nutrition opened. They are healthy smoothies and drinks. They are where Trailside Ice Cream used to be. Old Mill House Coffee is open. They're inside Artisans Exchange. Really cool Center Village. Grab a coffee and just they have lattes. They have all kinds of stuff. Really yummy things going on over there. I do know it was announced that Summer Street Grocers is opening. They have a target to be open this summer, similar to what some of you may remember as the Elegant Farmer.
Oh, yeah.
So something like that's coming back. It's going to be really cool. Small butcher shop, fresh local produce and things like that is their goal. They're going in where the Asian market wasn't able to hang on in there. So that space is currently in transition to reopen this summer. The bike shop opened up on Alpine Lane. That's pretty neat. And Tropical Smoothie Cafe opened in Drum Hill. So despite the pandemic, we did lose some companies, but we've got some openings. So it's really a changing time for small business. At one point last year, July or August, I had about 7 interested parties looking for restaurant space and kitchen space. The ghost kitchen thing really kind of blossomed, but Chelmsford, we do not have any certified kitchens that are not without dining space. So it didn't quite fit for what we have available, but there is a real interest and search for that type of thing where people are preparing food just for delivery or pickup, no dining facilities. They call it a ghost kitchen, a lot of Uber deliveries, that kind of stuff. So a couple other things. I met with Enterprise Bank recently. I do talk with them quite often. They're very engaged with the community. They're looking to find out, what I'm up to, who needs what type of thing. And we started this conversation about how to really bolster and help the reopening as the economy comes back online, and what can we do. So we had some creative conversation. We came up with the idea of a shopping map where you could find all of the locally independently owned shops and services on a map. Maybe it could be something where I could edit that and keep it up to date and put it out in the spring and the fall. We talked about a restaurant guide, similar concept, locally owned restaurants in town on a map, and also a historic walking tour, self-guided walking tour map of the historic areas of town. So just some initial conversations with the bank, trying to see how we can work together in mutual interest to connect with the community. So that was a fun meeting. And just, it's good to feel like you're getting back to what we were doing, was just like looking forward with so much excitement. Now we're trying to, recover from this COVID experience. I also met with Lowell 5 Bank, and we came up with the idea of reintroducing Shop Local Chelmsford. I'm not sure if you've seen the logo that I've had made, but Gift of Chelmsford started to become a little bit dysfunctional to the point where we had to close it down. And I've been searching for a sponsor to help me reinvigorate and get it back going. And that takes a little bit of money to get that up and running. So I thought, what best than to connect with the bank to do that. At one point, we were talking to the DECA students at the high school about trying to help with Shop Local Chelmsford. And I think just at the time, COVID was pulling everybody in all kinds of different directions last year, and it was really hard to start new initiatives last year. So with these conversations beginning, and winter's typically the time of planning and just looking forward to the better weather and how to really capitalize on spring thaw and all of that. I also want to note that I did a joint grant submittal with the Community Teamwork. They are associated with the Entrepreneurship Center in the city of Lowell. We did a federal grant application and we reached really big. So the minimal application is $750,000. And I know that's a reach, but somebody's got to get awarded, and it could be us. So we came up with the idea of trying to create, with that amount of money, trying to create a local online platform where small businesses could all be trained and learn how to operate online, and kind of maybe have like a local or maybe even a regional Etsy platform, locally made, or local services, things like that. For that amount of money, we could establish the platform, provide training, and create a revenue stream where we could keep that going. So we did that grant application. So that's the Sprint Challenge grant at the federal level. Also, a couple little other things when COVID arrived and we kind of had to learn how to do business development in other ways. I created a little talk show. It's called The Queue, and I've done about 20 episodes. I had a little bit of a following for a little while there, maybe 150 followers, but I've been having some really fun times with small businesses, having them on as a guest, learning all about them. And we really tried to make a positive thing during a difficult time. So the Q, last week I had the Better Business Bureau on, and that was really a fun discussion that's been published. I could share the link with you, and also you can find the whole collection. Chelmsford Telemedia obviously is producing the show, and really encouraging anyone and everyone that wants to come on. And the idea of the Q was to ask questions during the quarantine is how this all started. And every week we come on and like, what's the questions of the quarantine this week? And then it kind of changed around a little bit, and now it's become just, questions about the community and anything. So we've had a really good time at it, and my coworkers in the building have joined in off and on, and we're ready to kind of take it on the road. And we thought maybe we would try the ribbon cutting program to come back. I had it ramped up to maybe 30, 40 people following me around to help open up businesses. We had a welcome kit. The welcome kit had all kinds of fun stuff from other businesses in town, and then COVID arrived. So we're going to try to do the ribbon cutting program with a virtual invite to anyone interested, and then maybe myself, 1 or 2 people, social distancing on location with the big scissors, cutting the ribbon, welcoming them to town, and trying to kind of just get that word out that we actually have more businesses trying to open, and that's pretty fun. And then just lastly, I want to, there's lots and lots of things, but I just kind of randomly selected a few. But I am involved with Age Friendly Chelmsford, and I've been at it since the beginning. And you may have seen my little park project starting to come on in front of Blake Funeral Home near 24 Worthen Street. So it's, unique, but the goal is to create awareness to Age Friendly Chelmsford, and to create some open space where the older generation and older folks that just, they can't be outside for that long, but it really kind of breaks up the day if you bring a loved one and just kind of come outside. And, the goal is to try to get that planted with perennial gardens. I do have one park bench paid for. It's $1,500 for a park bench. So I got one of those paid for, ready to go. I'm seeking another sponsor, and soon I'll be launching a program where any family member or business that wants to help get the perennial gardens going, we'll have dedication plaques and things like that if they'd like to get involved. You may have seen last night that the committee chair presented the Age Friendly Action Plan to the select board, and it was well received. So that's a little bit of the high level of what I've been doing. A couple words about my background. My prior employer is City of Leominster. I did about 12 years in economic development there. That's my hometown. So when I left there, it was fully occupied. There was no empty space at all in the business community. I've done 8 tax incentive agreements for various businesses. I've done 1 special tax assessment agreement, which is a little bit more complicated, but fully understand what that's involved. I've done a lot of incentive programs, things like that. And prior to that, I worked at MIT Lincoln Lab for about a dozen years in the defense missile group. And that was really, really fun. But I had to kind of pause that a little bit when my little guys arrived, and just couldn't keep juggling the long commute, et cetera, et cetera. So through time, I made my way here, and happy to be in Chelmsford. I do bring some education. I have a bachelor's degree in project management from Bentley University, and I have a master's degree from Fitchburg State University, and I just graduated I say just graduated, but in 2016. It feels like I just did that. It's already been 4 years. But anyways, I love what I do, and I'm really starting to feel pretty excited about 2021 and just getting things going again, and really energized, and trying to connect with as many businesses as possible. So there's that.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yes.
That was great. We've had a few hands up here.
Okay.
Thank you so much. That was a lot of information. Carly, you were the first one with your hand up.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. First, Lisa, I think you're doing a wonderful job. You and I met briefly in the town hall, and I chatted with you. It's probably about a year ago, and you were telling me a little bit about some of the town development, particularly in the center and on 129. And I just love what you've done in terms of execution. I mean, everything that we've talked about is, you've been doing it, and it's wonderful. I live right here in the center of town. So I see it every day, and the town is just getting better and better. So tip my hat to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I have a couple of questions. One, with regard to developing Route 129 and attracting businesses, is there an effort in place to attract minority-owned businesses to Route 129? Are there incentives? And if so, can you tell me a little bit about that?
So, the programs that I'm using are not necessarily that specific. I have not come across anything in that regard. However, as we begin, and you're welcome to join these workforce development conversations, I'm working with the economic development firm, and we just had our first meeting. So you're welcome to join to help provide some perspective. But the programs I've used to attract businesses there, I haven't come across anything specific to minority owned, but I have outreached equally to all and any. I have done many personal visits, bringing people to building to building to building, because I feel that it just provides more connection from the town versus sending them down to the realtor and call this number. Trying to build relationships for anyone that's interested to be a part of what the town is doing and what Chelmsford's all about. But would love to have your contribution in ways to help. And it may be that when I meet with UMass Lowell or Middlesex Community College or the others, they may have some of these ideas in place already that I haven't had the opportunity to connect with. But to answer your question directly, no, nothing very specifically. Since, I'm new to Chelmsford, it probably took me a good while to just really acclimate. And being a new role, it took me a while to help people understand what I was doing here versus what we've been doing all along at Town Hall. So I'm more outreach, and takes a bit to build trust and reputation and relationships. Certainly open to trying anything, and welcoming your guidance and support.
Okay.
That's kind of that.
That's great. And the other question was just a quick one. The little peninsula right in the center of town where I see all the trucks right across from the new coffee shop, is that a new business that's coming in, or is that just parking?
It is, it's not a new business. I wish it was. It's not a new business. It's partial staging area for the infrastructure construction that's happening for the underground, piping system, the water sewer. And I think part of it is additional repairs to infrastructure, as well as the staging of materials. I have talked with the owner in that peninsula area, but part of that is owned by the Exxon. Right. Yeah. So it's complicated, but the best thing to do is just get that conversation started and find out what we're dealing with, and not avoid something that's really complicated. So I've been talking with the owner. There's interest to redevelop the parcel. I think if we could find something that had some significant interest or substance, we could continue that conversation further with other co-joining property owners and see where that leads. I am aware that there's interest to better utilize that land area. Just really it takes a while to make these connections. Sure. And haven't really come across anything, but I am trying to always interject myself in the loop there. That's all I really have on that aspect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Charisse, you're next.
First of all, thank you, Lisa, for joining our meeting. And I'm so impressed with what you've done in such a short period of time. I was like, wow, that's a lot.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
much kudos for Press Cafe. Can I tell you, it's like my favorite place. I don't have to go to Nashua or Burlington anymore. It's
Oh, Sharice,
delicious.
that was such a nail biter. It really was. The grant money was expiring on June 30th. We had to, so, and then Press Cafe signed on June 28th. I had like 48 hours. I was like, so really, really glad that everybody's happy about it.
Oh, and my girls are excited too. We're very excited about that. And I
Good.
happened to be on the select board meeting yesterday, and I was, there, and I was planning on getting off, and then I heard about the age-friendly Chelmsford. And I said, wait, that's me. So I stayed on to hear the presentation. But no, I wasn't ready for that. But I tell
Yeah.
you, what you guys are doing is amazing. So
Good.
I'll be staying tuned to that, because now that I fall into that category, which I'm still shocked about. And you do have two minority businesses that I know of, the barber and the bike shop, which is great. And I agree with Carly. We need to bring more minority businesses in if we can. And the
Yes.
question and I like the idea. I was wondering about welcome wagon just constantly. I know you were talking about it for the ribbon cutting, but I think it would be a nice idea whenever anyone new comes to town, if as far as an idea and a thought. And then the question I have is, for Ginger Ale Plaza, there's a space right between Bertucci's and Java Cafe. Is there any plans to do anything with that space? It seems like that's a area that keeps turning. I know the last place that the business that was there was Embroider Me, I think it was.
Yep. Yeah, it's been empty a little bit. So it's my understanding, maybe Tricia can confirm or deny, but I think the bank owns that plaza, Northern Bank. I've met with them a few times. I haven't heard of any rumblings about that corner space over there. I could certainly check and find out if they've been showing it or any inquiries. But I know I've had really great contact with the Java room, and I've been into Bertucci's just to talk to the managers and keep in touch. I occasionally try to just do door to door on businesses and sections of the town. But I haven't heard anything about that corner space. It's kind of a little challenging. I don't have any leads going on it, but I can certainly find out what's happening and what else the town or myself can do to promote it. I do want to say that I've had a lot of contact with minority-owned businesses in town. I couldn't tell you exactly how many there are, but when the pandemic arrived and I started pushing out information, my emails were getting sent to businesses in other towns were calling me asking for help. And I had customers calling me trying to help the minority business because they couldn't translate all of the application requirements. It was very difficult in the beginning. So I really go back to my teammates. I call them my teammates. We talk maybe once a week, Congresswoman Trahan's office. And I also connect, there's there's 3 or 4 of us. The US SBA Boston office is in the loop, and they respond when I call them, but I try to call them only when I really need them. But if I run into an issue with translation, I've been reaching out higher up to figure out what is the state providing and how to translate some of these applications. And I'm starting to see a little bit more now. The grant I put out this morning had a tab to translate into 9 or 10 different languages. So I made sure that I pointed that out for some of the minority-owned businesses in town. If I had to estimate how many we have, I could probably write a list if I gave it a thought. But I know I've spoken to at least 15 or 20 of them myself, minority-owned businesses.
But thank you so much, Lisa. And just one last thing is, I do think we need something for the youth. I think I might have been in this area for a long time, and my kids had, I mean, there was always just the local Dunkin' Donuts shop that they would hang out at.
Yeah.
I mean, other kids, and I just think that's a necessary
Yeah,
addition that we need in Chelmsford.
I
Thank you so
agree.
much for all you're doing.
Sure. And just a couple more comments with the age-friendly, 8 domains. I'm a domain leader to provide employment options for the older mature worker. And also my domain is civic participation to make sure that the community can be engaged with the municipality and how and where to find information. So those are my assignments. I am the secretary for Age Friendly, so I've been taking all the minutes. If anybody would like to get a copy of them, I'm happy to share those. And one last comment is that I'm in the process of researching a jobs grant for the youth through the Attorney General's office. I received it yesterday, and I've been trying to think about how to utilize this and how we can do an application. So if you'd like to talk offline and help me figure out how best to prepare an application, the youth jobs are up to age 21, and it's trying to be summer jobs related to health and wellness, somehow associated with health and wellness for the youth through the summer.
And Brian Petroroy is next. Go ahead, Brian.
Hi,
Brian.
Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. There are two things I wanted to mention. Number one, just I need to get this out to everybody. I need to get this out to you and everybody on the committee, just so that this doesn't get weird. Full disclosure, Jack Clancy, the CEO of Enterprise Bank, is my father-in-law.
Okay.
So yeah, we're not involved with the bank in any way, but I just wanted to make sure that was out there. If anybody wants me to recuse myself from any business discussions in town, I'm fully willing to do so. I don't want to even have the appearance of impropriety. Okay, that being said, the other thing that I wanted to mention is a couple weeks ago, a article on Vice came across my feed, and it was discussing a new book that has come out describing a phenomenon called suburban retrofitting. And the book is called Case Studies in Retrofitting Suburbia, Urban Design Strategies for Urgent Challenges by June Williamson and Ellen Dunham Jones. And the part that I found very interesting was that there's this one paragraph in the article that I have up on my upper screen, which is why I'm not looking at you guys. And it says, quote, "They have found that when the suburbs are retrofitted, they can take on an astonishing array of modern issues: car dependency, public health, supporting aging people, helping people compete for jobs, creating water and energy resilience, and helping with social equity and justice," end quote. So that just seems like a fascinating idea that we might be able to use, because basically we are the exact situation that they're talking about, where the kinds of people that used to be in the suburbs are now not so much the people who are in the suburbs anymore. And so they're finding a lot more utility from these mixed use kinds of developments and stuff like that. So I was just wondering if you guys had seen anything like that, or are familiar with this concept, and if you guys might be able to look into it.
So when you say you guys, are you referring to me like as a town hall team
Yes.
of people? Okay.
Basically your team.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the short answer is I don't think so, but sometimes I'm more so in the last year, I've been kind of, I don't want to say operating independently, but it's been so much crisis management, and all day, every day is just really trying to provide some retention and stability in the community. I can't necessarily say if we are, thinking in those terms of like master plan, future planning, things like that. I haven't been overly involved in those respects. It's taken me a little bit to learn so much about Chelmsford. It's a different community than Leominster. Leominster was a gateway community in my hometown, full of diversity. Just a completely different area. But I can't say that I can really properly represent an answer to that thought.
Sure. I mean, just,
I apologize, but
I think it might be worth looking into. I mean, you guys can determine the utility of that concept or not. Just wanted to make a suggestion because I was very intrigued when
Yeah.
this article popped up. So that's all I had to say. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, Brian. Latasha, you have your hand up. Yep. Latasha.
Okay, I'm unmuted now.
There you go.
Lisa, I want to commend you on the excellent work you've done over the past 3 years. You have done a tremendous amount of work. I'm quite impressed. And I must give you kudos for applying for the federal grant of $750,000. I am like you shoot for the moon, you're going to land among the stars. So great job there. I can't wait to see us receive the funding, and then what will you do with the funding is the
Right.
next part of that. As far as your outreach to the local colleges and universities, I was wondering if you've considered asking them if they would create a satellite community or satellite campus here in Chelmsford.
Yes, is the answer. So when Route 29, we ended up with 3 entry buildings because we lost a couple more businesses after I arrived. A couple of medium, good-sized businesses still vacated. So 270 Bill Ricker Road, 300 Bill Ricker Road, 330 Bill Ricker Road were all empty, equaling over 300,000 square feet of empty space, all connected, owned by 2 different entities. And the thought was a campus complex, a medical complex. We had talked to many hotels. They had shown up. They were interested in it because of the highway access, but we still had too much other vacancy buildings and the hotels were very nervous about that. And other towns around us are experiencing the same thing. We're not unique to this. Billerica has empty space, and we're all we're juggling the same type of situation. So we did go over to UMass Lowell, spoke with them about their entrepreneurship program, their robotics. They had just invested a lot of money in their testing labs and very expensive equipment for R&D and science related research and things like that. And the timing was off. It didn't feel right. So we did try to push in that direction. They were very interested and they wanted to be involved. We talked about creating a technical lecture program where there could be engagement with the communities, maybe talking about topics that I couldn't really speak intelligently about, but it could make it a way where if we're discussing engineering or, semiconductors or something, maybe there could be a technical, lunch and learn type of thing to just create that engagement and that conversation. So yes, but we weren't successful. What we did do, though, is we're in the process of forming an association for Route 129. We have about 15 businesses. Some are stakeholders, some are owners, some are occupants, some are brokers. And because the municipality can't do all this heavy lifting, we don't own property out there. It's in our best interest to get those buildings occupied, but they're collecting taxes whether they're full or empty. However, they're being less marketable each year that goes by. They don't have fitness centers. They don't have cafeterias in there. They were built in the 80s. We have many positive attributes. We have abundant parking. We have easy access. We have public transportation. There's a lot of things to celebrate and promote. But nobody thinks of Chelmsford as an advanced technology area. So we're working on that branding, and we are connecting with those credible, stronger, notable partners like that. We did try to reach out with them, but the group, the little association that we formed, where I'm in the process of establishing signage so that people know they're in they're in a business area, they're in a technology park. They don't realize that they're just driving up and down Bill Ricker Road. So we're hoping to put out consistent signage so that people feel like they've arrived in a business area, and not just empty office buildings.
Excellent idea. I also love the idea of the shopping map, the historical walking map, and the restaurant guide. And I'm hoping that'll be something that can be sent out to all of Chelmsford's residents so that they have it readily accessible. The idea about having the virtual ribbon cutting, fantastic idea, especially with a couple people there just to give them those scissors, and the ribbon. Nice ceremony. As far as minority-owned businesses, I hear you when you say you don't have anything at this moment as an incentive, but I do think that would be something that we would want to do to draw more companies to Chelmsford. One last question. Are there any other areas of Chelmsford that you're looking to occupy commercial space other than the 129 and Chelmsford Center area?
So commercial space, you're meaning more like storefronts and commerce? Okay. So I can provide you a report that can show all of where our empty space is so you could see it. It is before COVID arrived. I hate to put it like that, but before COVID, our empty space was typically brought down for commercial, for storefront. It was typically brought down to areas that were like a little more challenging. Maybe not as visible, maybe not the right ratio of parking, things like that. But now that COVID's arrived, I think we're going to experience some changes. As you can see, Applebee's restaurant went out, and I think that building is not going to be reoccupied by another restaurant, is my understanding. So, I'm not sure how to answer that. I think that we don't necessarily have like a cluster problem area. I know that Vinyl Square is trying to help the hardware store come back on. I know that Drum Hill has some new vacancies up there. There's a couple businesses that are trying to hang on as the pandemic lifts. They're kind of struggling a little bit. I know Vinyl Square, Center Village is jostling the construction period, trying to get through that part. I know Summer Street's experiencing some closures. A couple of them might not make it. We're hoping that they all come through. But I can share with you a listing specifically of commercial spaces so you could see what we're managing and how we can maybe attract minority-owned businesses to those spaces. We can talk with the landlords. We can find out how to maybe promote or advertise specifically for diversity or minority owned.
Okay.
Definitely possible.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm going to pass it on to the next person who has their hand raised.
You're muted, Tricia.
Sorry, I'm muted. Rachel, are you all set? You had your hand up for a moment.
Lisa answered my question as I put my hand up. I was going to ask
Very
about
good.
Vinyl Square, and she was
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
There we go.
Carly, back at you.
Okay, just have one follow-on question. Thank you. With regard to the minority-owned businesses, have you spoken with the barber who opened up in town and the cyclery owner that opened up in town to understand what attracted them to Chelmsford?
So
maybe there's a pattern, something that we can use to attract more minority-owned businesses.
Good question. Good thought. I have not been able to, are you talking about the barber in Center Village?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Did they move from one location up a row? No.
No, they can't.
Okay.
He's right on the corner. I think it was always a barber.
Okay.
And he's right on the corner there. It's a Dominican-owned barber. My son goes there, loves it. But I think he has another location in Lowell as well. So I'm curious to know what attracted him to Chelmsford.
Yeah.
And what brought, another business owner, minority-owned business.
I think I will stop in there. I'll introduce myself. That's a great question. I have not met him or stopped in, but that's what I like to do. So I'm more than happy to go by and provide my card and get connected, add him to my communication channel. But I am not sure how that happened. And the bike shop, just, here's one of my modes of operation here is I follow the occupancy permits. When the building commissioner issues an occupancy permit, or when someone pulls a demo permit in a business location, then that kind of triggers like something's happening and I got to get connected. But it's a game of chase because it's typically just the contractors and I can't get to the end users because the contractors don't want to be dealing with me. And so sometimes it's a game of chase, and the bike shop didn't necessarily go through that path. And I've stopped a few times, but I think he's been closed or open limited hours. And then the bike trail was under construction and now there's snow, and that's been a little bit of a chasing game, but I do want to make sure that they get an official, proper welcome to town and throw the confetti and all of that stuff. But I will stop into the barber shop, absolutely, and find that out.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
You're muted, Tricia.
Thank you. Phil, you want to take over the meeting at this point? Anybody have any other questions for Lisa?
Oh, this has been great.
Well, anybody, please contact me. I'd love to stay connected. I'd like to get your feedback. Would love to have a few more people on my little talk show, and would love to just be referred all around. And I'm happy to give you an update every so often, if you'd like. And I will be probably sending some information about our available space and a few other things that I spoke about, so you can follow up.
Great.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Okay. I apologize for being tardy. I was experiencing technical difficulties once again. So for that, I do apologize. Moving down the agenda, I did want to indicate to the group that we did have a resignation from the committee. Jennifer decided to leave the committee, and I did share that information with the select board, so they're aware of that. At this point, there haven't been any specific plans with regards to next steps, whether they're going to fill that slot or not. So once I get more detail, then I'll be able to let the team know more about where we might be headed in that space. So again, as I continue to go down the list, as I think everyone knows, we did have an opportunity to meet again with the select board, and we were able to present our revised proclamation to the select board. The good news is that they were very pleased with what they saw, and certainly I think the committee understands that we got some feedback. We looked at some of that feedback. We looked at where we might be able to make some changes, and we did that. And I think they were all very well received. And as you're all aware, the proclamation was read and it was accepted. Everyone voted on it and said, very good things. And so I think that's great. I think that's great. Definitely great news. And there were a number of folks who were on the board who had made specific comments, kind of acknowledging the work that we're doing. And I think they were especially pleased to see that, as we know, we're trying to build a relationship with groups here. We really want to move everything forward, and having the board be able to say, hey, we support this proclamation. There, supporting our work, and it's really important to us. And I think they believe that it's important. So I think it's great news. I think that's very very positive, and I'm happy, very happy that we've gotten that taken care of. So that's a good thing from my perspective. I know Sharice was on the line, when that was being discussed, and there was no no excitement. It was pretty much as it should be. It was read, it was taken the way, in the spirit in which it was given. We all supported that, and we're moving forward. So good news. Good news.
I also just wanted to mention that it was a unanimous vote of the select board, which was also outstanding.
Thank you. Very, very important. Very important. So yeah, that was, all good. So I think that's that's all good stuff. Good stuff. All right. I believe the next item is looking at our next meeting.
There's a hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss a hand?
Looks like Ken.
Ken LaFave is got his hand up.
Oh, okay.
Ken, are you?
Hello, Ken?
See if I can. Let's see. Ken, do you want to say something? Let's see. He's not muted. Wait, hold on. I want to unmute him if I can.
He is muted. Yeah.
I don't know how to. Let's see. How do I unmute him? Let's see. I can't unmute him.
Do you have to make him an attendee in order for him to be unmuted?
I did. I accepted him. Oh, wait. There we go. Make an attendee. Hold on. Change role. There we go. Because I let him in. So, Ken, are you there?
He's still there.
Excuse me, Tricia, is this an open meeting? Are we allowed for?
Well, Ken, it's a topic he wants to speak obviously on the select board meeting regarding the proclamation. So because it's a topic, he should be able to speak.
All right.
And I just don't know why he can't.
Not,
You want to chat something to me, Ken? Maybe you, after running all these meetings, a little secret.
it looks like he's unmuted now.
He's
off. Oh, he is?
He's unmuted.
Okay.
Ken, you there?
Okay. Well,
his hand's no longer raised either.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Okay. And I don't see anything in the chat. So sorry, Ken. If you have something to say, just raise your hand again.
Right.
Thanks.
Okay, great. All right. Oh, moving to the next item on the agenda is our next meeting. I believe our next meeting will be 2 weeks from today. Is that accurate? Okay. So we'll start our 2-week calendar, and that will make it. That will make it the
23rd.
23rd. There you go. That simple addition always trip me up, But yeah, that was the 23rd. So yeah, we will be on our new schedule, and certainly if there are any specific agenda items that folks have, they can try to get those to me by the I guess we have a couple of weeks to get that done, but as soon as they are available, if you folks can get that to me so we can get the agenda out.
Yeah.
Any other items?
No, I'm going to want to post that meeting by the 18th. So if anybody can get things to Phil so he can approve them before the 18th.
Being that it's not on the agenda, I shouldn't say anything about Black History Month. As far as just letting you know that we had our last featured artist come into the studio today. I can't say that, right?
Well, I mean, that's okay. I mean, Well, Black History Month is ongoing because it's
Right.
still the month of February, I guess, but, so you have a third one that I didn't know?
Yeah, Dr. Jovan Morris, she was
Right.
interviewed
Oh,
today.
right,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
why
all
don't
I
you
wanted to say.
You know, why don't you send an email, Sharice?
Yes.
Get an
Yeah.
update email.
I will do that because it was off topic, so I wanted to make sure I asked the question.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, well,
If
if
there are
everybody's,
no other items, Brian's got his hand up. Brian?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention one thing we may want to put on the agenda for the 23rd is that this past last Thursday, we had a call with Mataween Monroe of the United American Indians of New England. And it was a fascinating call about the strategy that we're going to want to implement for getting Columbus Day replaced with Indigenous Peoples Day in Chelmsford. So we had a great conversation, and I took copious notes and I sent them out to the rest of the group that was there. We're going to have somebody from Italian Americans for IDP joining us. So it's going to be a real good effort. So we may want to have that discussed. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make the 23rd meeting, but I think Carly needs to be the rock star of this because she has both Native and Dominican roots, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So I think Carla's going to be the perfect one to be the face of this moving forward. So if she's going to be available on the 23rd, I think it'd be a great idea to discuss what we got started with and how to take it forward.
all right,
Okay.
Great, thank you. And it looks like we do have Ken now.
yeah, Ken's here. Did you want to say anything, Ken?
Oh, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
He doesn't
that's
appear to be
So
muted.
weird.
Right.
It shows his microphone is on, so I don't know. Sorry, Ken.
So
No,
so hang on. This happened to me at a work meeting the other day. I
Yeah.
had both my microphone muted via the software and via my computer's hardware at the same time, and I only undid one. So we've got him unmuted on the team side. Ken, maybe if you try to unmute your microphone on your side, like maybe you've got your button pressed on your AirPods or something along those lines. That happens to me all the time. Just it's a suggestion.
Keep hearing these sounds.
still can't hear him. No.
And he's in there twice. So, and his microphone is on, and both, I see you as two attendees, and your microphone is on for both. All right. Did you want to chat? Did you want to chat something to us, Ken? Sorry. Good job. That's what he's saying. I can interpret that. Yeah, thank you. Thumbs up to us. All right. Sorry, Teams is just acting funny, and I can't figure it out. But thank you for attending our meeting today, Ken.
Absolutely. And Ken, if there is any detailed information you want me to transfer to the group, please feel free to give me a holler, and I'll happily fill in the team. Okay. Great. Thank you. Well, with that, we are at 7:59, and I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn the February 9th meeting of the Diversity, Racial Equity, and Inclusion Committee.
So moved.
Second to the motion?
I'll second.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you on the 23rd. Enjoy your week off.
Good night.
Great.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.